It has come to our attention that in the early years of the 21st century, man was being watched by intelligence greater than theirs, and yet as mortal as their own. Through the chaos, we determine the Fanatics and the Fan.
That's right, folks. You're listening to Fanatics and the Fan. My name is Hawk. Welcome to 2017. We made it. We survived. It's our first podcast of the year, and it's going to be awesome. Keith.
Yeah.
Did you have a good New Year?
I'd like to think that I did. The fact that I'm actually talking right now means I did survive.
And from what I hear, you have exciting news around the board. But before we get into that, we've got some amazing guests. It's going to be amazing year for us across the board, but I'm excited to announce the folks who do some of the coolest stuff in Springfield. If you're in Springfield and you haven't seen these guys do their thing, well, I might have to lower your ranking on the geek card because they're awesome. Class Act Productions, why don't you introduce yourselves?
It's going around. My name is Kevin Keppy.
My name is George Cron.
Elton Katz.
And I'm Sean Parker.
And you guys are with Class Act Productions that put on all kinds of cool, geeky, crazy stuff over at the Springfield Improv, right?
That's correct.
Awesome. I said it all right. And we're going to talk about some of the stuff you guys got. You got a lot of stuff coming up in like the next month or two. We're going to get into that. But first, we're going to go over to Keith, and he's going to give us a little bit of geek news.
Well, the big story right now is Peter Dinklage joining Avengers Infinity War. Now, what role he's going to play, nobody knows. But I have a theory that he might be Puck, which is one of my favorite. I can see by your confused look.
No, I know who he is. I like him, but he's gone through a lot. So,
well, we're starting at the beginning for a lot of these characters, dude. You're coming from having read a few issues of Alpha Flight, but I think it'd be good. It would definitely be something to help cushion the inevitable death of many of these characters, considering that everybody's contracts are coming up officially after this film. So if you're a Chris Evans fan, if you're an RDJ fan, if you're a Chris Hemsworth fan, especially laying odds that it'll most likely be him, but a few others. So
now, just... I love to interrupt you and ask dumb questions. I always thought that Alpha Flight was kind of an ingenious idea, just because it's not something. Being the way Marvel was when they created it.
First, let's at least explain. Alpha Flight is a Marvel comic, and it is a Canadian version of the Avengers. And Puck is a guy of...
He's a fan favorite. I mean,
if
you like Alpha Flight, you like Puck.
But he is a tough dude. Can fight like nobody's business.
And who just sits down, and when they recreated Alpha Flight, who sits down and said, hey, let's do a Canadian team? And then it pitches it successfully. And it's actually one of their more successful titles.
It was the 1970s. They needed something. Also... Entertainment Weekly just released the first official cast photo from the Defenders.
Yes, I saw that. I love it.
I'm telling you, this will probably be one of the bigger things to happen this year that you don't have to actually go to the movies and pay for.
Netflix has been blowing up across the board. We have Netflix fans among us. Oh, yeah. Yes. What are we watching?
I'm watching Mr. Robot right now. It's a
USA channel as well as on Netflix. Great geek show. We love it.
I don't watch Netflix.
Well,
it's a great.
I know how busy you are, so I understand that.
I'm catching up on the Flash episodes.
There you go.
Just finished Gotham.
You can't go wrong with Gotham.
No.
I still think it's one of the top, if not the top show.
I thought what's so cool about it is I just love the Penguin scenes, him dealing with his mother, and it was really, he's an arch villain, but I just found it quite moving, and I had quite sympathy for the Penguin. Like, I can't believe I'm feeling sorry for such a bad guy, a psycho,
And you know what's funny is you find that there's a lot of those characters on there that are like that. You're like, wait a minute, these are great, and yet we all know that. Their number one villain, the two number one villains in the DC world, everybody loves to death, are the most deadliest serial killers on the planet.
Well, it is the best rogues gallery of villains in comics is Batman's. Hands
absolutely.
down.
Not really geek worthy, but the last two series I watched were The Last Kingdom, which is a really fun Viking one, and also The Crown is a really good series too.
Yes, it is.
My wife likes that. I haven't watched it.
It's about the rise of Queen Elizabeth. It's really well done.
Interesting.
What else you got, Keith?
The trailer for a new trailer for Twin Peaks was released, and this one gives you your first look at Agent Dale Cooper. Which, for those of us that are big Twin Peaks fans, it's definitely something that I've been looking forward to.
Well, a lot of people have.
Did you say you saw the trailer? Or
Yeah, they've already released it, so you can find it online.
I'll have to check
But
it
it's
out.
a really, really short trailer.
So it's not just it's not him just eating a donut.
It's Dale Cooper walking out of the darkness, but it's very effective, and if you are a Twin Peaks fan, you're ready. You're ready.
Now, this is a continuation from the original, not a remake or anything.
Well, now you've seen Twin Peaks, right?
Yeah. Long
Okay.
time ago.
I would suggest that you familiarize yourself with the show again, specifically for those of us that got deep into it, the Red Room. This is the other side of that, because this continuation fits squarely into the way. I mean, it's to the point where you almost think that David Lynch set this up from the very beginning to wait this long and then to bring in the characters now. I mean, it was just like, oh, this is genius. This is genius. Let's see, Thor Ragnarok, it was revealed that Doctor Strange will be playing more of a role in this film than we first thought. Given those of us out there that actually saw the last Thor movie, you can understand why Doctor Strange is necessary for the plot. But they are definitely going to do a lot of stuff with Planet Hulk and all that. It's going to be great. It's going to be fantastic. Let's see, Entertainment Weekly also dropped a few behind-the-scenes photos and some photos from the set of Justice League. And that's probably my most anticipated film of this year.
Which is actually the perfect segue for where I was getting ready to go, because you and I haven't talked about this as much as we normally do, both of us being major DC fans, and now we've got some folks that have a little bit of DC cred behind them. Mm-hmm. What are you most looking forward to out of this next chapter of the Justice League world, as far as being on?
What am I looking forward to?
As far as movies, television, as well as the comics, what are you most looking forward to?
For all of it?
Yeah.
I'm hoping for Warner Brothers to just back off. Between Fox and Sony, they need to just back off and let the creative people create. I mean, that's the biggest difference between what they're doing and what Disney has done through Marvel Studios. No, I mean, I'm serious from a creative aspect, because I'm telling you that it's hard to do anything if you feel that the people behind you aren't technically behind you, and they're constantly going to criticize you or take money away or take what you created and just do what they want with it by editing, like they did with Batman v Superman, or like what Joss Whedon has finally come out to say about Age of Ultron and the heavy editing that was done to that film, which was originally a 3-hour movie.
Oh, so
there's a lot chopped out of that film.
Yes.
A lot of the character development was chopped out of that movie. Batman v Superman, great example. 3-hour film. They tell the director they're going to release it as is and change their minds. And so, again, the movie makes over $875 million. I mean, they cost themselves an additional $200 million at the box office.
Now, Ultron was long as it was, and there was a lot of development there. Could you imagine?
There wasn't a lot of development.
I was
a lot
thrilled with everything I got.
No, it wasn't a bad movie, but I mean, there was character development. You had a lot of scenes built around, a lot of action stuff. And the thing about Joss Whedon is he had a particular way that he wanted to take these characters and wasn't allowed to develop it the way that he felt that it should have been. That was really what led to him saying all the stuff that he did after the movie came out and wanting to leave Disney and all that. He's since changed his mind, and Anyway, as far as DC goes, they got a lot going on. They got a lot of good stuff.
I have a feeling this is the year of DC, personally.
No, I think this is just another good year for good comic book related movies and TV shows.
I meant just from the comic standpoint, just for the comic standpoint. I think this is their year because I think their tie-ins. Although I'm not a fan of the fact that everything is tying in.
Yeah,
the movies are tying in. The television is tying with the comics. The movies are tying in with the comics, and I have a feeling you're just going to push yourself to a point of, well, I'm going to make this character and then I'm going to put him in the comic book, which they've done 2 characters with now. But let's ask Gus.
Because kind of how Harley Quinn got her start.
He's dying to say something. He's telling me, like, shut up.
Well, that's kind of like how Harley Quinn got her start, though, with cross-promotion. A really beloved, famous DC character.
Amazing how they did that. Mm-hmm. And don't just completely disagree with it, although her current history is a little flaky right now. Love what they've done with it. But what are you guys most looking forward to out of the DC world? Because a lot of it affects what you guys do.
Hopefully, the Justice League movie is actually worth the hype they're trying to set up for it.
It is.
I'm hopeful.
I feel like DC took a lot of pointers from Marvel and how well they handled the Avengers and all the lead up with Iron Man and the Incredible Hulk. Everything kind of going towards the Avengers. I feel like DC needs to kind of follow that template. It's a proven template. That way you don't have all these characters show up, like the first couple of X-Men movies, for example, way back in the early 2000s. It was, so long ago, right? It's just the millennium. So, like, you had all these characters, then they were just thrown in, and they didn't, like Keith was saying, the lack of character developments makes you kind of tune out. You're like, what is this character's motivation for being here? Who is this guy? Oh, so he just randomly betrayed them out of left field, basically.
Yeah, some of the early superhero movies just dogpiled as many characters as they could in the movie. You barely even learned who they were before the movie was over. The plot got lost, or they had too many plots going at the same time. And then Avengers came along and
showed how it was done right.
Yes.
Not too many characters. Here's some character development. Go.
And again, it serves again to restate that what you have are a lot of people who aren't really versed in storytelling, who run studios that think that they can, basically usurp the power of the director or producer and go on in there and just sort of muscle a story along, and you can't do that. And really, Fox and Warner Brothers have paid dearly for having that kind of thing go over. Now, every so often, for Warner Brothers, you've had movies like Man of Steel. Great film. Great movie. Batman v Superman, in its original concept and the original version of the movie, excellent, well acted. Not so much for the theatrical version that was just chopped to pieces. But I have high hopes for Wonder Woman. I mean, Patty Jenkins.
You gotta love that trailer, if nothing else.
If you've never seen the trailer, look, I tell you right now, I know a lot of ladies that when they hear that theme song for Wonder Woman from Batman v, trust me, that is the best superhero theme song of the more recent superhero films that they've actually done. Because can you at least hum the theme song to Iron Man? I mean, without having to reach into anything that AC/DC actually made. Right. I mean, any theatrical song, anybody? No, you can't. So.
It's catchy. A Junkie XL did it, right?
Mm-hmm. With a little help.
So now, and one of the biggest reasons why I was focused on the DC world, aside from the fact I'm a big DC Comics fan, Marvel has disappointed me enough to where I don't even buy their comics anymore.
Everything became like some sort of mega crossover events, and it was like
actually that was the only time that I felt like they didn't fail is when they did.